right, let's give it a start, ladies. Welcome, everyone. This is WD 101. It's the brainchild of our president, Tammy Steinbecker, who's a wonderful gal, president of the Western Dressage Association of Georgia, which is WDAGA. If you're not familiar with it, you probably are all members. Thank you very much. Tam and I were talking, and we thought this would be a great idea. And this young woman, this lovely, gorgeous girl with all of this aurora borealis behind us, this is our IT gal, Dana, and she is amazing. She put this together so fast, you can't believe it. So if you have thank yous, don't send them to me, send them to her, because she's the one that really knows how to do this stuff. So thank you. Thanks, Tam, and thanks, Dana, for this. We'll get started. So today, we had people write in to Tam asking for information, and what they were asking about was if you could, if we could start something like this, and if we could have education virtually. And the first thing they wanted to know, the very first question from everybody was, how do I get virtual help? And so our very first one, instead of starting with what's Western Dressage all about, is how to get help virtually and how to show virtually. That's our first call today. And then next month is, the real start of what's the goal of Western Dressage and what's it all about, and the mission statement of Western Dressage. And we're going to get to that next month, which of course is right after Worlds. So be ready. I know y'all be tired, but it'd be a great time to just sit down and be all together. So that'll be fun. You may want a notebook, get one. Okay, so about these virtual lessons, exactly how does that work? Well, you do need some IT help, but here's the deal. We do have people out here who can help us, and we have people who will help us. So we're going to give you some information, and then we're going to give you some help with it. So look around. It is one of those things that you've got to talk to people about, who are you doing this with? Or, people put out on Facebook, or they put out on the social corral, hey, who's doing lessons out there? And word goes around. But then when you see someone recommend someone to you, take the time to contact that clinician. So, here's some ways to find them. You can find somebody usually on Facebook. You can messenger them. If you get lucky, you get the phone number, you can text them. If you think they're a USEF judge, they're of course listed as a USEF judge. There's always email and telephone numbers there, and email. You can't be a licensed official without your information being on the USEF website, and you just go down through the search of licensed officials, put in a name. Everybody that has the last name Norris, if you don't remember my first name, or you just type my first name, up comes the two Idas that are in there. Or Norris, every Norris that comes up, but you just read down through the list and you find their contact information, Google around, talk to your friends, but get some contact information and send a message to that possible trainer and say, hey, do you do virtual lessons? Or it may say on their website, or it may say on their Facebook page, I do virtual lessons. The next question you want to ask is, okay, how do you do that? Because what happens for most of us is that there's several ways that you can do the virtual lessons. So the easiest one, if you're just kind of starting, is that your friend or your husband or whomever you have at the barn holds up your phone. And remember, you need to hold it sideways, like it needs to be in landscape view for viewing, for looking at the horses. So someone comes and takes a video of you, and you put it up to YouTube. So there's a link, and you contact a clinician or a judge or a trainer that does this, and you figure out a way to pay them, and they look at this. Now, this works really well because you can, like, let's say that you contacted me. What I do is I have a PayPal account. Everybody pays me with PayPal. I make an appointment with you. We look at that together, and we're talking it all over, point by point by point. Hey, you just came down the center line super, super straight. But do you see that you're not on the center line because you can see A behind you? That means you're not on the center line. You know, they're going to help you. They're going to teach you. They may teach you some theory. They can talk to you about your equitation. They can talk to you about how you're riding horse. So all these kind of things can happen. And you can pay them with Venmo, PayPal. You can send them a check. It depends on what they say that they're willing to accept from you. But the beginning part is find somebody you're interested in, see if they do this, and then contact them. Now, almost all of them can do that routine. The next couple of things, which are way more advanced, which it's virtual, but it's live, are Pivo Meet, FaceTime, and Zoom. Those require a little bit more preparation on your part. So before you begin with those, what you want to do is find out if you have Wi-Fi capability where you're riding your horse. So go out to the riding arena, and do you have Wi-Fi at the riding arena? If you do, then these modalities are going to work for you because the Wi-Fi is necessary for the transmitting of the signals to the people live with you. And, you know, what you're looking at here is, you know, Zoom, you need a PC, you need some earbuds attached to the PC or the iPad that's doing this. You need an operator of the camera or the PC. It's a little bit complicated. However, I have a resource for us for that. I have several people that do this, one of which is Sue Morrissey in Michigan, and her husband, John, is exceptional at this and told me just today that he'd be willing to take phone calls to help you, A, set up your equipment, and B, help you get started if you get going on a Zoom deal. You can always FaceTime, you can hold those phones up and the other person on the other end. The problem with that is they are looking at you on their phone, so it's small. Unless they have an iPad, which some of us do, and can look at you on an iPad that's a little bit larger. The screens are small. Still, it's amazingly effective and works pretty well. Your earbuds have got to sync up with this. So, it's pretty cool. It works pretty well. Most people have pretty good luck. It's dependent, of course, on if you know, bad weather affects your lesson because, you know, now we have phone signal problems or Wi-Fi is failing. But most of the time it's pretty successful. About 70% of the people doing this own what they call a Pivo, P-I-V-O. And a Pivo is, it's a little tiny round device. It's about, I'm trying to make it, it's about as big as it's about as big as your fist. And that device runs, it's under 200 bucks. They went down, they used to be real expensive. I think they're just about 200 bucks now. You need a really, really good tripod, not the one with the skinny little legs. You want a sturdy tripod like we used to have for great big videotape cameras way back in the, I don't know, back in the 80s. I'm a dinosaur. Anyway, you need a really, really good tripod, really, really heavy legs and sturdy. And you attach this thing to the tripod and your phone goes inside of it. And this has the software which makes your phone follow you. And you put it on AI and it recognizes the horse and it'll follow the horse. When you do this kind of thing, you always put the Pivo at sea, always. You put the Pivo at sea and whoever's teaching you or training you is looking from the judge's point of view. That really requires decent Wi-Fi, but most people are using that and it works pretty well. Now, Tam's on this call. Tam, you're there. You still, can we unmute Tam? Tam uses Pivo.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I use Pivo too, and one of the nice options is when you do, now I think it's the Meet, but the person on the other line can actually control the screen. So if the Pivo gets like out of sight of the horse, the person watching can actually control it to get it back on the horse, which is a nice feature because sometimes it picks up my other horses.
Right,
That's
right. And that's what we use. We put it on meat, and sometimes it takes a couple tries to get us connected, but it works great. And then I have a Bluetooth device with earbuds, so she can talk to me as I'm riding in real time. So it's a pretty neat system. And everybody
one.
that knows me know that I am not a technology type person. So if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Tam got this set up pretty fast. She really did. We also have a gal by the name of Mary Ballard. She keeps her horse here with me at Mill Pond Farm. She has a wonderful horse by the name of Stewart, and she does some WD, but she also does international agility with me and tricks and all kinds of cool stuff. She is always out there with Stewie. Like she has little Pivo and little videos all over her Facebook. And you're gonna see that she does nothing but uses Pivo. And what she's done is become a Pivo expert. And since Mary Ballard is my wonderful, wonderful friend and neighbor, what she does is she'll take all your calls. If you call up and you say, Ida told me to call, she'll help you. Honestly. She has helped so many people across the United States. She's retired. It's fun for her. And she used to be in IT when she was in business. So she thinks nothing of it. She's in all of the Pivo groups online, on the Facebook Pivo groups and stuff. So she's always looking around and, oh, they're having trouble with this today and they're changing the software. Don't worry, that wasn't you. She has all the up-to-date information. If I have any trouble with the Pivo, I'm calling Mary going, what's up? She goes, oh, they changed the software today. Don't worry, they'll have it worked out tomorrow. She's great. So contact me. I'll give you her number. You may be able to Google her or find her on Facebook. She has a picture of a chestnut with a white blaze. So, Mary Ballard, and look for a chestnut white blaze. It's all I just sent you. She helps everybody and she loves it. She's awesome. So we have resources for you if you're having trouble with your technology, because it's now the next thing you want to do is, if you can, try to practice whatever technology you're going to do for a lesson with maybe one of your neighbors. Try out, like if you're going to try Zoom, like, hey, I want to Zoom call you while I'm riding my horse. Like, can you practice being the riding instructor for 5 minutes for me on blah, blah day? Because, try it out once. I will say this, the riding instructors have got to be patient about this, because just about the first time everybody tries a new technology with me, they waste about 15-20 minutes to get started. You just do. So if you're talking to somebody that seems to be all drove up, if they're a riding instructor that's short of time and they're telling you your riding lesson's only 45 minutes anyway, and then you lose 15 minutes getting the camera going, or getting your Wi-Fi to sync up, or whatever, that may not be the instructor for you. Or if they're even somebody that's like, I hate technology, blah, 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 not them. They could be the world's best riding instructor live. You couldn't have anybody better, but maybe this isn't the person to do this with. So give it, think about it as you're exploring this. I think you'll find just the right people for you. There's lots of wonderful, wonderful teachers out there, and they're getting onto this stuff. They're getting onto it. So, but if you have trouble, get back to me, get back to Dana, get back to Tam. Like, we've got information for you, and we'll share it with you to get started. So I think you can, pretty much everybody. Oh, the one other thing, one or two people, it isn't everybody, but several people told me that they didn't have real strong Wi-Fi systems, and Wi-Fi extenders, which you can buy to extend your system outside of your house, was sometimes something that they got, if the riding arena wasn't too far from the house, or they're in the stable, but at this end of the arena, they have really good reach to the Wi-Fi, but it doesn't reach to, the 200-foot mark in the indoor arena. Wi-Fi extenders, those also run a couple $100. you know, really a lot of the technology most of us already have on hand. We have a Mac, you know, most of us have a phone that, you know, an Android or iPhone, or, you know, we've got an iPad. We've pretty much got something that we can take the videos with. And then, you know, it's usually about 200, 250 bucks to get going. And sometimes people choke on that. They get a little funny with me about that. And I just look at them and I go, you can't go to a live clinic 2 days to, you know, and get a stall for $250, and don't even talk to me about the gas if you have to drive 3 or 4 hours. Like, think about it. This is gonna free up time and effort and energy. You can be in your own home. You can arrange your time so that you're not all stressed out. The horse isn't all stressed out from going someplace strange, and you can get some work done. And it may enable you to form a continuous training bond with somebody rather than go to one clinic and then go to another clinic somewhere else and go to another clinic somewhere else, which are all wonderful, wonderful instructors, but you don't have any continuity. So that's what we're trying to help you see if you can find here. And that's what the folks that were writing in were trying to find for themselves. They didn't have instructors nearby. So that's our goal for you, is to help you find that. So once you get going with this, what you're going to find is that you can take your Pivo out in the morning or whenever it is that you ride and set it up. There's a little remote control, so you can be riding around and press the button. I have a barrel on the side of the edge of the arena that I walk by, and I lay the remote down because I don't want to press the button and stop it accidentally. But you can tape some segments and look at those yourself. You get used to this, and once you get used to this, and if you're using the Pivo, you know, the next part about it usually is, oh, I might like to try one of these online shows. So I have a list of online companies, which this is by no means, this is, you need to understand, like, this is by no means a full list. It was just, I quickly jotted down everybody that I knew right offhand. So if Dana will let me share the screen, I'll push the little share screen button and see if it'll let me do that. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm gonna go here, and we're gonna go share, and I'm gonna pull down to this. You know, of course, there's the WDAA Online International, and you're going to find all of their information on the website, and it's there now. SpotlightHorseShows.com. That's Gail Mathis. She's one of on a number of committees for WDAA, and she's an awesome IT person. She has beautiful, beautiful horse shows, wonderful prizes. People rave about it. They're always organized. Licensed judges, super. Better Dressage Scores has been around forever. The organizer is Ariel Stafford from, I think she's Georgia, you guys. If it's not, it's Louisiana. She is from the South. I'm pretty sure she's from Georgia. You guys should know her. She's amazing. She's been at it longer than anybody and was the first organizer that ever contacted me. I've judged for her forever. Super kind, and her particular platform, because their software is all a little different and their rules are all a little different, but in her show series, you only ride against yourself. You don't ride against anybody else. You just like competing by yourself, getting your own points. She does have the shows, many of the shows are pointed for WDAA, and she has licensed WDAA judges so that you can get your Wheelpat points for the horses. So a really cool show. Dressage Show Online is a very professional show organizer. This gal is Trevorton. She's amazing, English woman that lives here in America, and her shows are awesome, has organized, great judges. They're always on time. Virtual Horse Sport is one of the newcomers to this club, but she's coming on strong. and her shows aren't quite so well known right now, but this is just a temporary, I mean, there's many, many more. I'm sure many of you have seen these and others. So if these aren't the ones you want to try out, which these are just the first 5 or 6 I could think of really fast, super fast. Just Google dressage shows online or Western dressage shows online, and you'll come up with many. The other thing to do also is go to the WDAA website. And on the WDAA website is the calendar. And the calendar shows you all of the horse shows live and online. So let's say that maybe, I don't know, California Western Dressage Association of America decides that they're going to run their own show, and they're actually doing everything themselves. They've developed their own Excel sheets and whatever. They can be listed there, and it'll tell if they have points, and it'll tell who the judge is. And so if you're not looking here, then go to the WDAA website and look on the calendar and find shows, because those shows for sure will be recognized, at least for wheel pap, which are horse points for WDAA for lifetime horse points. None of the online shows are given USEF recognition for points. They don't, USEF has not adopted online showing for any division. They don't support this, which we're real disappointed with. We're talking, and we're trying to convince them, send letters. But so far they just haven't come around to this idea. But it really, we have so many people, you all are so enthusiastic, and thank you. Thank you for being so enthusiastic. And it's working for us, for WDAA, and for our affiliates. We're very excited about online showing. So this is just a start, and there's so many more. Let's say, for example, that WDA of Georgia decided that they'd like to run their own show, but they don't want to do all the work. You can actually hire one of these organizers to run your show for you, and they have various contracts that work with your group, and you make a percentage, your group makes a percentage, and they make a percentage for doing all the work. And you sponsored the show. You could have your own show series for the state of Georgia. If you didn't want to run your own shows, you can hire an organizer. You hire like all of these organizers except for WDAA, but all of those companies do that. And there's plenty more besides them. So these just happen to be amazing and reputable, and I know them, and so I'm not recommending anyone specific, just being clear here, but these are all reputable and awesome. So if you went into any of these shows, you would feel like, wow, I'm in a good place. I have really good judging. I know this is going to go well. They help you if you haven't done this before, and you're texting or you're emailing, and you're not doing just everything right because you don't know how to do it because you haven't done it yet. They actually type back and they tell you, hey, we need you to turn the camera sideways for the judges, and don't forget, we need to see your letters, and things like that. They're very helpful. So talking about online, here's another paper that we're sharing with you, and Dana told me that Dana, you were going to share this afterwards with them?
Yeah, I'm going to send a recap email with the YouTube link that you have in these directions for the camera, phone video, and also I'll include those online shows as well.
Okay, thank you. When we all started doing a lot of judging online during the pandemic was really the beginning of a real breakthrough. But before that, several of these organizers, Dressage Show Online and Better Dressage Course, had been out there for a while anyway. But we did realize that the more people that joined in, the more we would need to have directions for the camera or the video person. And so these are some of these directions right here are pretty much standard and have been used by almost all of those companies that you saw. I developed most of this. I'm sorry about the typing. I'm sure Dana can fix it. I don't type very well. But the things in red are because those are what the problems are and the things that people most forget. So if it's in red, it's very important. But turning the camera in landscape, if the pivot will track the horse and it will zoom for you if you're using a pivot. That's why most of us are lazy and have a pivot. I mean, I thought my very good friend Mary taped me the very first time we had the World Show online when we had to pivot during the pandemic, and the poor woman was so stressed. She was so tense trying to film for me. She was terrified. And so then I asked my husband, I thought I was going to get divorced. It wasn't good. So, getting the Pivo was wonderful because now no one has to be there. It can be 6 o'clock in the morning and I go out and my horse is used to being ridden really early and it's out there and we just got the little birds and the little bunnies running around and it's quiet and the Pivo's following. And I don't have to worry about getting somebody out of bed to tape me or, oh, honey, you didn't do that right. Not going there. So I'm sure you all understand because your husbands do you a million favors and your partners do you a million favors, but there's some things that just, oh, it's tough. So if here's some directions that will help you. One of the things that we want to talk about when you start, taping is that if you're going to compete online, there are a few little things. The big ring is 200 feet long. It's 66 feet wide. If you have a space that you can measure that out, that's awesome. And you measure it out. And what you want to do is actually look through your own camera and see, can I really see my letters? And not little white letters way down there, but I frequently tell people I need those orange road cones like you're way down there. And even with the best zoom, the letters sometimes blend into the back of the arena wall, maybe because you're in an indoor arena, or use something really noticeable for the judges. I happen to have in an outside arena because I have a white board fence in an outside arena. So I have those white letters, dressage letters that are stapled right onto the boards, but that means it's not tilted towards the judge per se, because the judge is really looking from C. So I took some 5-gallon buckets that were yellow and they're buttercup yellow. And I turned them upside down and I put vinyl letters on them. And those are below the letters that are on the rails of the fence. Underneath on the ground, you can see a yellow marker when that horse gets to that. It's this big 5-gallon bucket. How about the ones from Home Depot that are orange? Anything that you can see really well, we need to see it. And we need to delineate the corners of those rings. So there's lots of people that just mow a field really flat and they're riding on grass, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. They lay us out some poles. Hopefully it's some painted jump poles so we can see the edges. They give us some loud markers so we can see them. Most of us, we don't necessarily need the letter per se because the judges know the letters, but they need to see a very clear marker. So think about giving us something that's really noticeable, and then you look at your own tape and you see if you can see the letter clearly. And when you get to that letter, if you halt the horse near the letter and you go, I really can't see that letter. I can't tell if that horse is at that letter. If you can't tell, I can't tell. I'm not supposed to guess. That's a little tricky for us. We're not allowed to guess. So this online showing thing is really good. I'm allowed to spend as much time as I want on it because I'm at home. So that means that some judges will take the time to type a little bit more thoroughly their comment. In a live show, things are moving along really fast. You might just have a box that says needs NDS, impulsion IMP, period. You might get that from an online judge, but you're more likely to get from somebody like me and many of the others. There's a ton of wonderful judges that spend a lot of time typing and helping people. And they'll write, instead of just needs impulsion, they'll write needs impulsion for better balance and bend, or needs impulsion for steadier, softer connection. Like they'll put in a few more words to help you because they have the time. So it's worth doing. And if you get onto this, we'll help you. Everyone will help you. It's fun. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I show online. I show online, and I like to get my papers back. I'm always really excited to get my papers back. So it works out really good. So you go out, you use your Pivo, you get somebody to help you, you get the tape, look at it, see if you can see the letters. You have to remember that I think it says in here in your directions, at no point can the horse leave the viewfinder. If the horse leaves the viewfinder for even a second, that's a DQ'd. You're out. It's eliminated. Like you can send it in to be judged, but they won't give you, it doesn't count for wheel pap points, and you're eliminated, like disqualified. The tape itself is disqualified because you left the view screen. Now, we don't know if you left the view screen or what happened when you left the view screen or you cut the tape or whatever. So we have to have a few rules. It's pretty loosey-goosey, but we have a few rules. Don't leave it. So whoever's following you, they got to follow you. And if for some reason your Pivo hogs up and it doesn't follow you, sorry, punch the button again, do it over, do it again. You know, do it the next day when you're not tired. But that's one of the few things they won't accept. You also have to do a tack check. And down here at the bottom of the screen that we were talking about here, which is the Western Dressage tack check. Some of you have seen my YouTube channel, and Ida Norris Dressage YouTube. So I put out a bunch of little educational short videos. This video is, I don't know, 6 to 7 minutes long. I think Tam's seen it. Tam, did you find it helpful? Or Dana?
Yes, I saw it. I thought you were very thorough in it.
Good. What we're trying to do is to teach you how to do a tack check online that'll pass, because the judges are required to look at the tack and it has to be shown at the end of your video. So what we're looking at there is that you get really close to the camera, that we see the bits from the front and the back, that we can see all of the tack. And this video just walks you right through it, right from the beginning, right to the end. And, you know, I actually do the tack check and drag the horse up to the camera and show you how close you need to be to get a clear picture of it. And once again, you can't leave the view screen. You gotta, you know, come up to your halt from your test and do your salute, do a really visible salute so the judges can see all that. And then, you know, walk up towards the camera or have the camera person walk towards you and then do this whole tack check. What we're trying to say is that if you were at a live show, you're required to drop your bits, show the tack. You can be asked to, you know, get down and they can check your tack, and they can unroll a polo wrap if they ask you, they can do it. And we're required to do that in online showing. So this video is specifically to teach you how to do the tack check, because your video can be DQ'd or eliminated if you don't show everything you need to show in the tack check. So you need to get on to how the tack check needs to look. So this is a video made to teach you what has to be in it, what it has to look like, and how close the pictures have to be. And I get real close up on the bits and things, so you can see, hey, I had to come this close to the camera, and that's there to help you. So that's the point of that video, to help you get started. There are a few other little rules that happen while you're showing online. We never intend to send in a video that has an error in it, like you go the wrong way or something. But it happens. It actually happens. The biggest thing that happens is that you completely leave out a movement in a test, and the whole rest of the test looks nice. And maybe you even like look at your video and stuff, and you just never see that you left out maybe a 10-meter circle at A. You didn't do it. So I thought I'd mention a few little things like that about what happens, so that if you should do something inadvertent like that, you would know what the rules would be and what would be happening and how it would be handled. So if it's some little thing like you were supposed to do, let's say a 15-meter circle, but you did a 20-meter circle, the judge may give you an error, which is like in live writing, they would ring the bell, take the 2 points off for error, and that's at the bottom of the test. They take it off, and then they mark the circle. The tough part about that for you is that you were asked for a 15-meter circle, but it was a 20-meter circle. They'll probably give you an insufficient because it was way too easy for you, but you get the error. If you never did the circle at all, then you get a 0 in that box because you didn't do it at all. And you do get an error, which is taken off at the end of the test. That does happen to people, but I know somebody last year that was an awesome competitor. She's really well known. She left out a movement at a very high level. I think it was level 4 or level 5, and left it out and got the 0 and the -2. And she was still like second or third in the online international. Like, she's a really good competitor. So it's not the end of the world. And we have all done it. Even I have. So don't worry about it. Those are just little things. And the organizers will, send you little notes afterwards and let you know what's happening with that. And there's usually a great explanation at the bottom of it telling you what's happening. Some of these companies that we showed you earlier that we listed have options, like you want to go to their websites and shop around. You want to go to the Social Corral and ask your friends, like, where are you showing? And they'll tell you all the things about all of these companies that they like. And I like this one because of this, and this one that, and this one gives belt buckles, and this one gives halters, and what. They'll tell you everything about them, but also go to their websites and read up what their requirements are for their online showing, as far as they'll have their explanations like this of the camera things, what rules they want you to follow. Most of them follow WDAA rules. Some of them ask you to sign a form, please, will you promise to follow the rules? Some of them ask you to do that, which is great, I think, very reasonable. And they'll tell you everything, that they have going on. But additionally, some of them you can check a box and pay $10, $15, $20. There's a fee. It's not usually a ton. And some of them actually will, you check that box, and for an extra fee, you get what we would refer to as coaching remarks from the judge. So you get additional remarks during the judging. So you get your regular test judged just the way it would be judged if it, and you can get whatever points you're getting, but you will also get additional suggestions from the judge. And some people pay those fees. It's really worth doing. It can be a remarkable game changer if you're looking for education and you can't get to them. For example, I know one student of mine was interested in riding in front of one of the world judges that will be at the Worlds in a couple of weeks, and nowhere was that judge going to be anywhere near them live. They just looked way too far away, and they paid for that service. I think it was $10 from one of the organizers, and and they received some remarkable remarks that helped them with their training. 2 or 3 things that this judge could suggest to them at the bottom of their test. I think you should do this and this and this to get better for this particular level. It was very helpful. They liked it. It was fun. So there are some services that these shows are offering. So take advantage of those if you'd like. They're fun. So Dana, do we have some questions? How are we doing? Do we have an opportunity for questions? And you can type into Dana.
Yeah,
And
I don't have any yet, but if anybody wants to use the group chat, or, I mean, even we have time, you can unmute yourself for a question.
sure, absolutely. We're trying to be as thorough as possible. And we're hoping that we have answered a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah, and I dropped the link to the YouTube for the TAC check into the chat box. I'll also send it out. But I thought that was interesting. One of the things that I took away from it was like, maybe my markers aren't so great when I'm doing my virtuals, because I didn't realize it was okay to use such loud or bright colors. Like, you know, just have the little white cones and just tan poles, and they are kind of hard to see.
They are hard to see,
Mhm.
and the markers are really tough. And the other part is, you know, all of the center line work relies on A. And the judges, if the horse doesn't obscure A when they're coming right at the camera, then the judge feels that they're not on the center line. And it's not just the 2 center lines, because like in level 1, there's something like 7 or 8 movements that involve the center line. You're supposed to hit that center line. So you need a really noticeable A, particularly, and a lot of times that's even further back than just the end of the ring, because you were maybe entering or whatever. That's something that'll happen in virtual showing too, is a lot of times, like in my ring, I can't go outside to enter, so I'm inside of the ring when I start, you know, and I just make a turn and come down the center line. You will be having those kind of concerns. That's okay, that all that stuff is allowed.
So do you have advice? Because I've noticed that when I'm showing for the online international, is that I may not be like, I think my center line, my cones just aren't straight. So even though I'm straight, it looks like I'm not straight. Do you have advice to line everything up down the middle?
Well, you do really have to line them up. So, you know, hopefully if you're not alone, you know, 2 people, and thinking about, you know, a lot of times not lining up A and C have to do with the fact that your ring is kind of rhomboidy, you know, that you didn't triangulate your corners. If somebody does a really good job with a ring, they've triangulated the corners so the ring is really a true rectangle. And then if you can get C and A right in the center of the ring, and then for the judge, visually, it doesn't always happen, but if A is in the center of the opening, that gives you a good advantage. And that isn't even always possible. I was at a horse show in Horseheads, New York, judging this past weekend, and the opening, you know, A was nowhere near in the center of the opening of a chain fence, chain dressage ring. And I was like, oh, you know, it's fine. I've judged a long time, and you just have to be right behind C and look right to A. And things to do to help yourself is take a broom or a gravel rake and drag from C to A. Drag a gravel rake and C, you know, and then go back to C and then go back to A and say, you know, do I feel like is it straight? Do I have it straight? You know, if you don't have 2 people, then dragging. And that's a way to train yourself when you're riding a horse too. You have real trouble with the center line. And a lot of these new man-made fibers, you know, it used to be in the good old days when we just had sand rings, that after about the 6th horse, there was a really good center line there. And if you've been behind somebody that could do a really good center line, you just get in the middle of that line, you'd get a great score. But these new man-made fibers, there's no footprints left, and there's no line there, and there's no wear. So if you drag lines for yourself. You know, if I'm going to work center lines in the morning, I take the gravel rake out and I drag the line. And then, you know, a gravel rake is what, 10 or 12 inches wide, and that's just about wide enough for a horse to track down. And I put the horse right down the center of that, and you center that on A and you center it on C. It's a great way to do this by yourself without help. It really does. And you know, if the pivo's out there, then I run the pivot and I do a you know, maybe 3 or 4 lines, and then of course my horse is pretty patient. I pull over, get down, and I look at the pivot and I go, yeah, they were straight. You can see in the gravel line, yes, and you can see between A and C, but then I've got it on camera. This is what it looked like to the judge. The other thing that's really important is that that camera person, they really need to be right behind C, and they need to keep the camera, the center of the camera, behind C, and they don't get to go walking around here, there, and everywhere on the short side, because a judge doesn't get up and walk around, because that changes the view of what everybody sees. So they're supposed to be stationary there at C, behind C, with the camera centered, and they can turn to look like a judge would turn to look, but not go walking all around everywhere. And that makes a difference.
So question about, are you always supposed to keep C, like the cone, in the view of the camera?
You know, if you're in the 200-foot ring and you have the cone to start, or you can see, like I have a fence post because it's a board, and then you see that, and then you zoom up to the rider. That's good on those 200-foot rings, because if you don't, if on the center line you don't zoom at all, and you can't really see their feet, you're lucky if you can see their hand off the rein without any zoom at all. So I recommend zoom. And here's the next part, and we should be real honest about this. And I actually type this on people's papers because this is important for people to understand. If I can't see the details, if I can't see any details, like I can't see your hands and I can't see how you're half halting and I can't really see your legs, and because you're way down there and you use no zoom and you just look like a little mouse running around on the screen. Well, you can see that the horse cantered up there, eloped up there on the bit, and it doesn't seem to change frame. But that isn't fair, because the people that did zoom, and then maybe I saw something like, well, your circle was a little inaccurate, or your horse stuck its tongue out, or whatever, and I gave him a 6.5. And then you go loping up there and I can't see a thing, and I give you a 7. No way. That can't possibly be fair, because somebody who was brave enough to show me what they were doing and they didn't hide it, I can't, and they made a little mistake and I marked them down to 6.5. I'm not giving somebody a 7 that I can't see what they're doing. And my colleagues feel the same way. They will not mark up if they're not absolutely confident. Then it's just satisfactory or possibly lower, because that's not fair. And what we usually write in the box, if you get a comment that says lacks video detail, that means they couldn't see it. Or they'll write no zoom, lacked clarity. Those kind of comments mean that they couldn't mark you up because they couldn't see it. And usually, if they have time, they'll type a little note at the bottom. But many of us have been doing this for so long, and online showing's been out there a long time. I think we forget that people can be new to this. And so some of us are forgetting to do this. I still do it, but I know a lot of my colleagues have given it up because they've been judging now. Some of them, I mean, I've been judging, I don't know, maybe 7 years now online. So it's been a long time to us. And so we're thinking that people know this. And so we shouldn't do that, I think. But still, if they aren't typing it, it's because they've been at it a long time.
Yeah, that's true, because I just started showing online recently and the tack check really got me. I was really nervous.
And 7 o'clock Eastern time. And that is going to be about, the title is What's the Goal, or What's This All About? And we'll talk about, most of you all know the WDAA mission statement, but what WD does for us and what is the premise of the training specifically. And we'll talk about the training wheel and, how does the training wheel matter and what does it do for us? How does it relate to everything that we are doing? So that's coming up at 7 o'clock on October 4. And between now and then, we'd be grateful for feedback on this call because we're just learning how to do this and we're trying to figure out, is it working? Anything at all, like, hey, did our chat function not work? Lighting, it needs to be better. You couldn't hear, you could hear, you like the screen saving, you don't. We need more screen saving. What do we need? Because we want to do this, and we have several more groups that may join in or want to do this. And so we're trying to figure out if this is working and how we can best make it better for you. So any more comments out there? Because we're running closer on time and we want to get everyone's questions in. Oh, there's Erica. She wants to know if the same link will work next week.
I believe the same link will work, but since we're new to this, I'll just be sending the link again. So.
Good question. Okay, any comments out there? Have we covered things thoroughly enough? And what we should ask all of you that are on the call, type in and let us know. How many of you have tried? We want to know how many of you have tried a virtual lesson. And then also how many have tried a virtual show? And then comments if you liked them. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dana? Oh.
Marla, you haven't tried either, but would like to next year? Yes. Andrea loves virtual shows. Tim.
Oh yeah, Lauren. Yeah, with her. No, that's a beautiful mule. Yes, Lauren, that's amazing. Janice, hi Janice. Yep, Janice is one of our awesome judges for online. She does a really great job. Yep, they're a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, people love shows and lessons here. Only way you can show, yeah, it's really good. My one horse doesn't really love the show environment, but I still enjoy showing them at home online.
Oh, struggling with footing. Yep, Tammy. Yes, I'm trying to talk Tammy into trying a virtual show. We'll see. I'm twisting her arm. She's my awesome live shower there.
Yeah, Tammy, I'm surprised you don't do the online international.
I think that'll be maybe next year. I'm twisting her
Yeah,
arm.
I'm thinking about it. This was very informative. Um, I like hearing it from the judge's perspective too, because I've seen a lot of online shows on YouTube or videos that people have taken, and I agree about the little specks at the end of the 200-meter ring, and I often wonder how you all judge that because you can't see it, and especially if you have a lot of dust going in the arena while you have this tiny um, vision at the end, how you all are able to assess what they're doing. But I like that you guys are thinking of that too, and that you're also thinking of it from a standpoint that you're trying to make it fair for the people that are brave and they zoom in because they want the feedback and they want your honest opinion.
Yeah, and we all have warts, and so someone zooms in and then there's maybe a little tiny bobble and the judge sees it, and if I see it, I kind of have to mark it. And yeah, but I was judging 2 weekends ago. Last weekend was a live show, but 2 weekends ago I was judging two online shows during a weekend simultaneously. And there was just one group that was obviously really new. You could tell they were just really new. They had trouble with the tag checks. A lot of them no Zoom. There was one dusty arena that obviously a trainer was trying to help people tape, and it was the same woman reading. She looks like she might be the trainer helping, and dusty, and no Zoom, and it was a nightmare. I had eye strain in a minute. And we have huge screens. I mean, most of us that do this have got, like, I've got a PC that's just cranked up there like a TV, huge. So, but you can't enlarge. You can only enlarge so much anyway, and you can't see it. And there was nothing I could do. And there were some people that had very clear, I suppose that, oh, everybody knows me. They know I'm blunt, so I'm just going to tell you. It's like, if you do better photography, you have an advantage online. Come on. I need to be able to see it, So we just have to put the elephant in the room. If you don't do well, it may be because of your photography. And sometimes I actually have to put that on the bottom of someone's test, like, I'm sorry, I really couldn't see it today. Maybe you deserved better scores than this, but I have no idea. And I write right down, I'm not allowed to guess. I have to be able to see the details in order to mark above a 6. And I couldn't see any details at all. So you're here. Maybe you deserve more. Possibly you deserve less. I really don't know. So is there an advantage to, if you get more savvy with your equipment? Yes. But one of the things we're trying to tell you is that for a couple of $100, if you're all alone, then it's the Pivo system that we're all using. Like, if you guys go out and look at my YouTube channel, there's nothing there that hasn't been taken with the Pivo, because there's me. I live in Benson, Vermont. There's 1,000 people here and mostly nothing. I can't even, you guys are looking at my farm and you can only see my house. I can't see anybody. There's no one here. That's why I moved here. But that's a downside. There's no one to hold the camera. So for a couple $100, you can become self-sufficient, and that camera will zoom and it will focus for you. And you're going to look at the Pivo pictures if you go look at my stuff and go, wow, oh, I can do that. Oh, that reminds me of one more thing I did want to mention to you. No, wait, we're going to run out of time and you all have to go, and you've been very patient and listened. But rings that are too wide get DQ'd. You can have a ring that's a little bit too narrow, because that makes it harder for you. And a little tiny bit narrower ring, most dressage rings are supposed to be 66 feet, but a lot of people's indoor arenas have 60-foot trusses. So it's a 60-foot ring instead of a 66-foot ring. When they ask you for a 10-meter circle, you have to do a 9, because you should do a 9, because you want to make it to the center line of your ring. So you can get away with a ring that's a little too small, because they know it's harder for you. And your only problem is if you get it onto level 3, 4, 5, and you don't have a ring long enough to get all of the movements into. But people ask me all the time, my ring isn't quite standard. Can I get away with this? The answer is that yes, usually you can. And if you need real detailed information of how to do that, call me. But the number one thing to know is the letters from the edge of the corner. So those are H, M, K, F. Those letters have to be the right length from what you consider to be the end of the ring. When you make your corners with your poles, those letters have to be the correct length. Then for your ring, take E and B and center those. And then the other 4 letters you're going to put in proportionally. And you can do this because, like, a woman called me that she wanted to ride level 5 in the online international, and it's supposed to be a 200-foot ring, and the woman's got a 180. She has a ring that's 180 long. I said, it's only 20 feet, and it's 60 wide. It's 60 wide and 180 long. And I had her set these proportionally. She did her test. It looked lovely. They accepted it. Nobody even commented on it. No judge commented on it. And I looked at her tests before she sent them in because she was so terrified because of this ring problem. I go, look, I'll look at your tests. I'll tell you if I can't see the letters or anything like that before you send them in. Because she was terrified of being DQ'd, of her video being DQ'd. And there was nothing there to be DQ'd. It was fine. And it went in and it was judged and she had no trouble at all. So just in case that should be an issue for you, you can get that worked out. And if you need help, just call. We'll help you with all that stuff. Like, we want people participating. I take calls all the time. It's fine. Call or text or messenger or whatever your modality is. We'll communicate. I know we're running out of time. Any more questions, Dana?
I don't see anyone. Love everyone's responses about virtual showing and lessons. Yeah, I just wanted to add that if you've registered for the series already through the Google link, you don't have to redo it for any of the other further sessions. I'm going to be sending the link out to everyone who registered for this one. Again, if you want to participate in the next ones, and add anybody new. So if you know anybody who wants to participate in these, let them know, have them sign up if they're not a WD-AGA member, and then register through the link, because I use those emails to send out the Zoom link.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, to everyone, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. Give us your feedback. And Tammy, thanks for being the president, getting this all going, getting it all organized. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited to be doing this, and thank you for the honor of being here, and thank you everyone for being here. Dana, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Dana.
Oh, she's awesome.
Oh, thank
Dana's
you.
awesome.
Yes, everybody, this is my first time like hosting a Zoom, so bear with me. I know y'all have questions about the links. I put it together as a series, so my assumption is it's going to be the same ID and passcode. But like I said, for each one that we're going to do, I'll send a new one right before, a couple days before we launch that call.
That's awesome. Know everyone that we are looking for feedback to find out for the Georgia Association if we should expand this past 6 months. We'll see. If you have more ideas from any other ideas that you would like to have people explore, please send those ideas to us. And we will have every single month support, way more support information than this. This was just preliminary. We threw it together in a second. We have a lot of information, which we will be sharing with you, links for information, documents. We have PDFs to support the information we'll be talking about next time. So let people know and join in. Thank you all very much. It was an honor to be with you, and ride well, have fun on the journey, and hopefully we'll see you at Worlds. But if we don't, I'll talk to you next month. Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Tammy. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Ida. Thank
You
you,
were
Dana.
great.
We had a blast.
Thank you.
So,
This was a blast.
Yes.
bye-bye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye.